an MTA is a maximum time aloft boomerang. It's got a kind of a weird design to it compared to other boomerangs. It's like an L shape here. And this is a pretty good sized one here. And the name of this one is Wicked by William Glover. A little skeleton there. One thing I like about it too is that, well, it's made out of a wood. You don't see too many of them made out of wood anymore. But it's really light. And on the ends right here, it's got like, feels almost like sandpaper. So you can get a good hold of it. And what we do with these kind of boomerangs is that we throw them straight up. And I'll show you what I mean. I know this is pretty crude, but right here is the ground. You're standing here, you throw it straight up vertical at 12 o'clock. Or throw it up at 1 o'clock. You can vary that degree a little bit. And the wind should be coming this direction. Okay, coming to you. Now you can throw it like, if we're going to throw this straight up, we want to hold it vertical. You don't want to tilt an MTA to the right or to the left. When you release it, it has to be vertical. That's one of the hardest parts about throwing one of these, is to release it so it goes vertical. I mean, the release is vertical. Okay. And again, you're throwing straight up in the air. 12 o'clock, you can go like 1 o'clock maybe in that area. And if the wind is coming to you, to your face, that'll be coming toward us right here. And usually about 1 to 3 mile per hour wind is good for these. If you get really strong wind, you won't be able to find this thing. It'll blow it way off. But if the wind's coming straight at us, like the way you see this MTA right now, you may want to throw to the right. If you're right-handed, throw to the right about 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. It all depends on the wind. But you just have to kind of trial and error that. Now this one is not tuned perfectly. I know Mr. Glover told me the winds were like 40 miles per hour where he was at. So I know it's not tuned perfectly, but it's probably close. And we're going to try that out and see how well it throws and what we have to do to tune it. And we can talk about tuning these too a little bit. One thing too, when you throw these, you want to throw these with a pinch grip. Okay, you don't want to grab a finger right here and try to make it spin, because if you do, you're going to wobble it and it's not going to fly right. So you want to pinch grip and release it to vertical, 12 o'clock exactly. Now sometimes when I'm throwing, I'll tilt it like 11:30. Say this is 11 o'clock. I'll tilt it like 11:30 or close to that, because the arm has a natural tendency to straighten out when you throw. It has a natural tendency to turn. So sometimes mine will go straighter that way. When I throw it at 11:30, I actually release at 12. So sometimes you have to kind of modify your throw a little bit. Now this is the long arm, is the lift arm. Some people throw it from the lift arm like this, and then other people will throw it from the short arm, which is the dingle arm. And so I think some of you more professional type people probably throw it from the dingle arm, which is the short arm right here. Again, you got a pinch grip on it, and you're going to release it. And you're going to throw this thing with a lot of spin. Spin is more important than power. You're going to throw it as hard as you can, but have control over it, so it leaves your hand vertical, and that you have a lot of spin on it. And we'll see how this works, what we have to do to tune this. Okay, we got about 2-3 mile per hour wind right here, and we're going to try to see what this needs to be done to it on the tuning. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I released Okay, we're going to throw this again. Okay, it went way out. Okay, we tuned it a little bit. Let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Nope. This is just an example when you get an MTA and it's not tuned, or it got out of tune during shipping and handling and whatever. When you throw them vertical straight up and they end up going like this. Well, you saw that. But it just went end over end and it didn't turn right or left. Then you know you got to tune it. Hey guys, this is Gary J. And what we have here is a MTA maximum time aloft boomerang from gloverrings.com. And this one is called Wicked. This is really a nice ring right here. And I had to tune it, and what I want to do is show you how to tune these a little bit. Now, there are people who know a lot more about tuning the MTAs than I do, but you just don't see any video tutorials on them. So that's one of the reasons I want to show you this too. On this one, originally when it was thrown, you have to throw them vertical. It would just go end over end in a straight line, and it really wouldn't turn right or left. It's the way that it should. And sometimes the wind would catch it and it would turn like, a little bit like it was supposed to, but it was out of tune. Sometimes they're out of tune because of the way that they come in from shipping and stuff like that. There are a lot of different things that can cause that. But usually it's a trial and error thing too when you have one. The MTAs are generally the hardest rings to tune, some people say. But I want to give you an idea on how to tune one of these when you have one that's not hovering like it's supposed to. Again, I'm not really an authority on these at all, but since there's no tutorials out there, I think it's good to have an idea of how to tune them. Now this is your elbow here, and you notice this ring is like an L. Okay, the short arm right here is called the dingle arm. The long arm is called the lift arm. On this ring right here, you might not be able to see it, but this end is tapered downward. This is kind of the thick full edge here, and this edge right here is the sharp edge that's tapered downward. On this end over here, this is the thick edge, and this edge is tapered downward. Okay. Now when you're tuning one, you're only going to tune about this much of the wing here. Okay, and on this side right here, about this much of the wing. The two things you generally want to do with one of these when you try tuning one is put a negative angle of attack and a positive dihedral in the limbs. Okay, this is limb 1, this is limb 2. Now the angle of attack is when you take this limb here. Now this is the tapered edge right here. You take this and turn it this way. So you're turning it like that. This will cause the tapered edge to set up higher than normal. And you're only making minute changes like a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, a 1/16 of an inch on a ruler is like 64 thousandths of an inch. Okay, these are very minute changes that you're making. And on the left arm here, the long arm, this one right here, this is the tapered edge right here, and this is the thick edge. The tapered edge here, you want that to come up, and the thick edge to go down. So you're twisting it this way. Okay. Now when you put this negative angle of attack in here, you can hold your ring in your hand like this and torque it. But when you do that, you want to support the elbow, and this is the elbow. You want to keep that flat. You don't want to torque the elbow. So you only want to use about this much of the limb right here, okay? And on the other side, about 2/3 of that. So in this case right here, if I've got this secured on something flat, then I'll take my hand here, my thumb here, and my thumb on the other side right here. And what I'll do is I'll push down and turn that limb. This one right here, I'll push down and turn. And on the other limb, I will turn it the opposite way. But I'm keeping this flat on the surface, either my knee or chest or something. So here, I'm turning it this way. Here, I'm turning it this way. And at the same time that I'm doing that, I'm pulling up with my finger here to cause this tip right here to come up. That's called positive dihedral. You want to do that on both ends, okay? So I turn it here, and I turn the other one the opposite way, and then I pull up on the tip here. And on this end over here, get that in the camera, I'm pulling up on the tip here too, okay? So I'm pulling up on the tip here. By doing that, turning it this way and pulling up on the tip, I've given it negative angle of attack, and also I've given it positive dihedral. Now again, when you do that on these rings, you're only doing it very minute, say a 1/16 of an inch to a 32nd of an inch, and see how it flies. And you may need more dihedral, you may need more negative angle of attack. Sometimes you may have to use positive and do it just the reverse. Use a positive angle of attack to do it reverse. So you got to tweak them sometime too. But generally, if you want it to hover and it's not hovering, it's just going end over end, and just doing terrible, do it again. Hold this right here, the elbow on something flat, and twist this that way and pull up on the end at the same time. And on the other limb, you're doing it, turning it this way, like that, and pulling up on the end of it, giving it the positive dihedral. Now this one is tuned, so look at this one, and you say, well, I don't really see that much of a positive dihedral where it's coming up, and I don't really see the angle of attack that much. When you look at it like that, that's because this is very minute. Again, you're only doing this like 30,000, 60 thousandths of an inch, and that kind of varies. It may be a little bit more, but it's not extreme, okay? So don't over-tune these MTAs. And that's one of the big things you have to realize. Now I've got a cardboard one here that I made. Now it's the same thing with the cardboard right here. And this just gives you an extreme view. You never do this to one like this. But this is a tapered edge here. You're turning that like that. That's causing you to have the negative angle of attack. And you got your finger here and you pull up on this end. That's giving you the positive dihedral. Okay? But don't ever do it that much. On the other wing, you're doing the same thing, except you're doing it opposite. This is the tapered edge. You're flipping that up like that, and you're pulling up at the same time with your hand to bring this end up. You want to bring this end up. So you're giving this edge right here that positive dihedral, but you don't want to do it that much, okay? This is very, very minute. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of turning it. It's negative angle of attack. Again, that's the tapered edge. On this side, the tapered edge is on the opposite side. So you're turning it that way for the negative angle of attack, and also lifting up on the end at the same time when you're turning it. Okay? So that's how you want to start out with that. And especially if your ring is super flat. But throw it first and see how it throws. And if it doesn't throw right, it doesn't turn right or left, because when it goes out straight up in the air and it reaches maximum altitude, she should lay over. She should lay over and then start turning around and around. And the wind will catch her as she's turning around. And it'll blow her various directions. And sometimes, a lot of times you'll have to run after an MTA. So sometimes you run hundreds of yards after the MTA playing with them. But they're beautiful to watch, and you can throw them up 50 yards and greater. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Hopefully that gives you an idea on how to tune these. Again, it's not that difficult using that technique that I just showed you. But always remember, keep the elbow on something flat and just tune the wings right here, okay? And pull up on it a little bit. And when you're through, you should look maybe something like this right here, okay? I know that's probably difficult to see perfectly, but it's just a little bit of positive dihedral here with N coming up and a little bit of negative AOA on both limbs. Keep them kind of symmetrical. Well, thanks a lot, guys, and I hope you enjoy throwing your rings by William Glover and others who put out wonderful products. Okay, we cold tune her. See how she looks right there. Let's see how she does. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Okay, you see her turning, right? That's what you want her to turn, like that. Well, I misjudged her. She came down a little bit farther in front of me than I thought she was. Okay, let's try it now. We get a lot of spin if we can. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, I threw her, but the way I wanted to. Oh, got her. Okay, we're gonna throw this. On these, you gotta psych yourself up. If you're gonna throw, you need to throw it something like that. Right there would be like 1 o'clock where that little cloud is. That's where you need to throw to make a mental image of it. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. She's turning. Ooh, got her. So she went straight out and up, and then she came down in front of me in a good way. Let's see if we can do that again.